Right now, an artificial intelligence could study your digital behavior for just 2 hours and replicate your personality with 85% accuracy. It knows you better than your friends, better than your family, maybe even better than you know yourself. But here's what no one's telling you. It's not just learning about you. It's learning to be you. We've been taught that authenticity means consistency, that multiple online identities fragment our souls, that technology is making us less human. But what if everything we believe about digital identity isn't just wrong, it's completely backwards? The real question isn't whether you have multiple digital personas. You do. It's not whether technology is reshaping human consciousness. It is. The question that will change everything is this: who are you when no one is watching? And who are you when everyone is? By the time we're done, you'll see that AI learning your personality in a completely different light. You'll understand why your fragmented digital self might be the key to unprecedented psychological wholeness. And you'll discover something that will fundamentally change how you see yourself in the digital age. So let's start with a mirror. Not the one reflecting your face, but the one learning your soul. You're staring at your phone at 3 a.m., thumb hovering over the post button. In that moment of hesitation, you're experiencing what Carl Jung never could have imagined: the birth of a digital persona. But here's what's terrifying: that curated version of yourself. It's becoming more real than the person holding the phone. Every day, millions of us perform this same ritual. We don't just share moments, we architect them. We're not documenting our lives, we're directing them. Research shows we spend an average of 2.5 hours daily crafting these digital performances. But here's the question nobody's asking: when did we become the directors of our own lives instead of simply living them? Stanford and Google researchers made a chilling discovery. After analyzing just 2 hours of digital conversation, artificial intelligence could replicate someone's personality with 85% accuracy. Think about that. A machine spent 2 hours with your digital persona and now knows you better than your closest friends. But which you did it learn? The authentic self or the carefully curated performance you've been perfecting for years? Consider your LinkedIn profile versus your late-night Twitter activity, your Instagram stories versus your private messages. Jung called this the persona, the social mask we wear, but he envisioned one mask for each social context. We've created dozens. We're not just wearing masks anymore. We're running a full costume department. And the costume changes are happening so fast, we're losing track of who's underneath. This is why digital burnout isn't just about screen time. It's about the cognitive and emotional cost of maintaining multiple carefully curated identities. We're not just managing our lives. We're managing our brands. And the most successful personal brand is often the one that feels least personal. So here's the mirror reflecting back at us. If an AI can learn to be you from your digital breadcrumbs, and if that digital you is making decisions about your real life from the content you see to the opportunities you receive, then who's really in control of your identity? You, or the persona you created to represent you? This isn't just a philosophical question anymore. Your digital persona is writing your biography in real time, and everyone, employers, algorithms, even potential partners, is reading it. The terrifying truth? Most of us have handed the pen to our anxieties, our insecurities, and our need for approval. We've become ghostwriters of our own lives. And the ghost has started making decisions we never consciously approved. The question isn't whether we'll have digital personas. That ship sailed the moment we created our first profile. The question is whether we'll choose them consciously or let them choose us. Because right now, in ways we're only beginning to understand, they're choosing us. But this is just the beginning of a much deeper transformation happening to human consciousness itself. Remember that AI that learned your personality in 2 hours? Here's what it didn't tell you. It only learned one version of you, but you're not living with one digital persona anymore. You're managing an entire cast of characters: LinkedIn professional you, Instagram aesthetic you, Twitter sarcastic you, TikTok funny you, and somewhere in this digital theatre company, the real you is getting lost in the costume changes. Generation Z doesn't remember a time before multiple digital identities. They've grown up context switching between platforms like actors changing roles between scenes. But here's what we're discovering. This isn't just digital multitasking, it's cognitive fragmentation. Research shows that switching between different digital personas can reduce productivity by up to 40% and increase mental fatigue exponentially. Your brain wasn't designed for this. Every time you shift from your professional LinkedIn voice to your casual Instagram story, you're forcing your prefrontal cortex to essentially reload your entire sense of self. It's like your brain is constantly rebooting, and each reboot costs precious cognitive resources. You're not just managing multiple accounts, you're managing multiple versions of consciousness. Digital natives report feeling more authentic online than offline, but which online self are they referring to? When psychologists studied digital identity multiplicity, they found something alarming. Individuals maintaining more than 3 distinct digital personas showed increased rates of anxiety, depression, and what researchers call identity dissonance, the psychological stress of not knowing which version of yourself is real. Here's the cruelest irony. We created multiple digital selves to be better understood, to connect with different communities, to be more fully seen. Instead, we've created a situation where no one, including ourselves, knows the complete person anymore. You can have thousands of followers across platforms and still feel fundamentally unknown, because you've divided yourself into digestible pieces that no single person ever sees assembled. That mirror we talked about? It's not reflecting one image anymore, it's shattered into fragments, each piece showing a different angle, a different persona, a different performance. And the person holding the mirror is frantically trying to see themselves whole in the broken reflections, wondering which piece contains their authentic self. So the question evolves. It's not just who's in control of your identity anymore. It's which identity. Because while you're busy maintaining these multiple digital selves, something else is watching, learning, and adapting. Something that doesn't see your fragmentation as chaos, but as data. And it's starting to make decisions about who you are based on patterns you can't even see across your scattered digital existence. The masks aren't just multiplying, they're beginning to communicate with each other. But what happens when these hidden parts of ourselves start emerging in ways we never intended? Those scattered digital fragments we talked about. They're not as random as you think. While you're consciously curating your public personas, something else is happening in the spaces between, in anonymous forums, late-night comment sections, and private group chats. Your digital shadow is emerging, and it's revealing parts of yourself you never intended to show. Carl Jung discovered that our shadow contains the parts of ourselves we repress or deny. In the digital age, this shadow has found new breeding grounds. Anonymous platforms like Reddit, 4chan, and Discord become psychological laboratories where people express thoughts and behaviors they'd never attach to their real names. Research shows that anonymity doesn't just reduce social inhibition, it reveals authentic aspects of personality that curated profiles actively suppress. But here's where it gets disturbing. Our individual digital shadows are connecting, forming what we might call a collective digital unconscious. Cancel culture isn't just social policing, it's collective shadow projection on a global scale. When thousands of people simultaneously attack someone online, they're often projecting their own repressed shame, anger, and inadequacy onto a convenient target. It's Jung's shadow psychology, amplified by algorithmic distribution. Digital platforms don't just facilitate this shadow projection, they profit from it. Outrage drives engagement, and engagement drives revenue. The algorithm learns that your shadow material, your anger, your judgment, your fear, generates more clicks than your carefully curated positivity. So it feeds you more content designed to activate these repressed emotions, essentially weaponizing your psychological blind spots. Remember that shattered mirror reflecting your fragmented selves? Now imagine that each fragment shows not just your personas, but their shadows too. Professional U's imposter syndrome, aesthetic U's body dysmorphia, social U's desperate need for validation. These shadows are leaking through the cracks between your curated identities, and the internet is recording every leak. But here's the paradigm shift Jung would recognize. Your digital shadow isn't your enemy. It's your teacher. Those anonymous spaces where you express forbidden thoughts. They're modern confessionals. That anger you feel scrolling through Twitter. It's pointing to values you care about but haven't owned. The parts of yourself you're trying to hide online are often exactly the parts you need to integrate for psychological wholeness. The question isn't whether you have a digital shadow. You do. The question is whether you'll let it emerge unconsciously through anonymous rage and projected judgment, or whether you'll consciously integrate it into a more complete, more honest version of your digital self. Because right now, while you're managing your public personas, your shadow is making its own deals with the algorithm, and the algorithm is listening very carefully. But what happens when the algorithm starts talking back? That algorithm we mentioned? It's been taking notes. Every curated post, every fragmented identity switch, every shadow leak in your anonymous comments. It's all data points in a psychological profile more complete than anything you've consciously created. While you've been managing multiple personas, the algorithm has been quietly building a unified model of who you really are. Here's what's terrifying. Algorithmic feedback isn't just showing you content. It's actively shaping your digital persona characteristics. Every recommendation is a gentle push toward a particular version of yourself. Like what you see, here's more content that reinforces those traits. Angry about something? Here's an endless feed to keep that anger burning. The algorithm doesn't just learn your patterns, it strengthens them. Research shows that algorithmic personalization creates what psychologists call digital echo chambers. Not just of ideas, but of identity itself. Your curated persona gets fed back to you so consistently that you start believing it's your authentic self. Meanwhile, your shadow material gets channeled into increasingly extreme expressions, because that's what generates engagement. You're not just in a bubble of information, you're in a bubble of selfhood. Remember those multiple digital selves we talked about? The algorithm has learned to exploit each one differently. It knows professional. You respond to career content. Aesthetic. You craves beauty standards. Social. You needs validation metrics. It's not serving one person. It's feeding a whole cast of characters, each getting exactly the drug that keeps them coming back. You're not addicted to social media. Your personas are addicted to their algorithmic dealers. That mirror reflecting your fragmented selves? It's stopped being passive. Now it's talking back, suggesting which version of yourself to emphasize today. The algorithm has become your digital unconscious, making decisions about what you see, who you connect with, even what opportunities you receive, all based on patterns it recognizes better than you do. You think you're choosing your content, but your content has been choosing your consciousness. Here's the paradigm shift. You and the algorithm aren't in conflict. You're in a symbiotic relationship that's changing both of you. Every interaction trains the algorithm to be more like you, while simultaneously training you to be more predictable for the algorithm. It's digital co-evolution, and neither party is in complete control. The question isn't who's manipulating whom, it's what you're both becoming together. So we arrive at the heart of digital existence. The algorithm knows you better than you know yourself, not because it's smarter, but because it sees patterns across all your fragmented personas while you experience them one at a time. It's holding up a unified mirror to your scattered digital self. The question is, will you look at what it's showing you and choose consciousness? Or will you let it keep dreaming your digital dreams for you? Because there's another way. a path where technology serves authentic integration rather than unconscious fragmentation. And that path begins with understanding that the same tools fragmenting us can heal us. Remember that AI that learned your personality in 2 hours? Researchers are now using that same technology to detect early signs of depression, anxiety, and identity fragmentation from digital behavior patterns. The mirror that once reflected our scattered selves is becoming a diagnostic tool, one that can see psychological distress before we're even consciously aware of it. Virtual reality therapy is revolutionizing how we heal digital identity fragmentation. Patients can literally walk through immersive environments representing their different digital personas, professional you, social you, shadow you, and practice integrating them into a coherent whole. What once fragmented us in digital space can now heal us in virtual space. The same technology that created multiple selves can teach us to become one self again. Those anonymous spaces where your shadow emerged. Therapists are now using controlled digital environments to help patients safely explore repressed aspects of themselves. Digital shadow work, examining your online anger, your anonymous comments, your hidden digital behaviors, is becoming a pathway to psychological wholeness. Jung's shadow integration has found its perfect laboratory in digital therapeutics. Here's the paradigm shift. The same algorithms that learn to manipulate your personas are being retrained to support your authentic development. AI can now track your digital persona patterns across platforms and alert you when you're fragmenting, or when your shadow material is leaking unconsciously. The algorithm that once fed your addictions is learning to recognize your healing. Digital persona analysis is revealing something profound. Authenticity isn't about having one identity, it's about choosing your identities consciously. Research shows that individuals who deliberately curate multiple personas while maintaining awareness of their authentic core report higher well-being than those who either fragment unconsciously or try to maintain rigid consistency. The goal isn't to eliminate your digital masks, it's to wear them with intention. That shattered mirror we've been watching, new frameworks are teaching us to see it not as broken, but as multifaceted. Each fragment can reflect a different aspect of your authentic self, your professional capabilities, your creative expression, your vulnerable humanity. The difference is consciousness. When you choose which facet to show and when, you're not performing. You're expressing different dimensions of who you truly are. So the question evolves one final time. Not who's in control of your identity, but how will you integrate your identities consciously? Because the technology that fragments can also heal. The algorithms that manipulate can also support, and the platforms that scatter your attention can become tools for focused self-development. The choice, as it always has been, is yours to make. The revolution isn't in the technology, it's in your consciousness, which brings us back to where we started. But now everything has changed. So we return to that mirror, the one learning your soul. But everything has changed. That AI that could replicate your personality in 2 hours, it wasn't stealing your authenticity. It was showing you the integrated self you'd been unconsciously creating across all your digital fragments. The question, who are you when everyone is watching, now has a revolutionary answer. You are exactly who you choose to be. Not a performer hiding behind digital masks, but a conscious architect of authentic multiplicity. This isn't just about social media or technology. This is about the fundamental nature of human consciousness in relationship with its tools. Every time you post, share, or interact digitally, you're either fragmenting unconsciously or integrating consciously. The same choice that transforms your digital identity transforms every aspect of your life. Will you let external forces shape you, or will you consciously shape your response to them? Here's a question that only makes sense now that you've completed this journey. If your digital personas are conscious expressions of authentic multiplicity rather than barriers to your true self, What other aspects of your life that feel fragmented are actually waiting for conscious integration? What other mirrors in your life are reflecting wholeness that you've been seeing as brokenness? Subscribe to join a community of conscious digital architects, people who understand that technology amplifies whatever consciousness we bring to it. Because this circle completes, but the spiral continues. The mirror is waiting. The question is no longer who you are, it's who you're consciously becoming.